Welcome back to Rolando Estocado. My name is Rolando, and for today's episode, we're going to be exploring double tomahawk work. Now, from what I understand, since this is a Sayoc Winkler Tomahawk, from what I understand, for its purpose and its design, for the work that is needed for our U.S. Special Forces teams, there is no double tomahawk curriculum. I'm going to repeat that just so I'm clear. There isn't one that exists. And that makes total sense because we can't necessarily expect our Special Forces teams to go into their missions with 2 tomahawks. That's a lot of gear, and they can be a little heavy. However, for us civilians who happen to be consumers and also like to practice martial arts, but also from my own perspective, in my own estocada practice, I think it is important to create some complexity in our practice because that's just something that keeps us healthy. That keeps our myofascial matrix really nice and healthy so that it continues to move throughout our bodies so that we stay young and healthy. And I think that as a movement exploration and as a health practice, I think working with 2 Sayoc Winkler Tomahawks or 2 tomahawks in general is something that I would encourage. Again, this is something that I've also found in my own practice, that's Sinawali practice, the practice of weaving 2 weapons at the same time, whether it's double balisong with a stick, it really doesn't matter. What's important is that you move and explore the complexity of the human body as it relates with weapons work. So what I want to be able to share with you today are some of my insights and some of my movement flows with 2 Sayoc Winkler Tomahawks. One thing I really love about these 2 is that they are so ergonomic. They fit in my hand in so many ways that when I move with it, just doing this right now and just sitting down, I get really excited. I get really ready to go because they're just so well designed, and I think it's something that you're going to enjoy in your practice. Now, mind you, these are very sharp, so I'm going to move with them very slowly with a lot of care, and I encourage you to do the same. However, what's really fun about this double Sayoc Winkler Tomahawk, because of their design, it is possible to go ahead and move with them in this reverse fashion so that you can do a Sinawali with both tomahawks up, but I'm going to also display this tomahawk where it's coming down like your traditional tomahawk, but also today I'm going to explore a little bit of that karambit work so that you do have that karambit function coming down also. Don't mistake that. But also we will have this, so there's a way for it to come up and come down. I really hope you enjoy this video, and thank you for letting me share. Double weapons Sinawali practice is foundational to my Rolando Estocada practice. I think it is important that we add that layer of complexity, not only for motor control reasons, but also to raise our level of cognitive awareness to what kind of tools we are moving with. That added complexity ensures that we're constantly aware of what the right and left hand is doing so that we know that we're not playing with toys. We are playing with tools that can actually do damage not only to the intended target but also to ourselves. So make note of these types of movements that I am displaying here right now as we will cover them in detail. There are 2 primary considerations when we are doing Sinawali. The first one is lead shoulder dynamics and then square up dynamics. Note that there are times when my shoulders are square and there are times when my shoulders lead. So let's take a look at the targeting. The first part of Sinawali practice is to figure out which shoulder is going to lead. Here, I'm going to lead with the right shoulder with wide movements, short movements, and thrusts. Now I'm going to move over to the left. This is very basic when it comes to moving with 2 weapons, and it is far more imperative with the tomahawk because the hooking capabilities along with its striking and slashing capabilities ensure that when one does one type of feature, the other one has to follow up with the other. Now we're going to show some of the details around the lead shoulder dynamics, where when one goes forward, we can do multiple strikes, but then also lead and switch with the other. So this dynamic ensures that one goes forward and then the other goes forward. when your shoulder squares up, that's when we start to see some of the more traditional Sinawali basics and dynamics that you see very commonly. So what you'll see here is that when the shoulder squares up, you start to see some baseball swinging type movements, but also the crossing of the arms. And the crossing of the arms, the lattice type feature that you see, that is what is common in Sinawali. So notice that when the arms cross, now you start to see more deceptive, unpredictable angles where the tomahawk can come from. And again, this is all very much slashing, very much striking. This is still very much within flow. But notice that the Sinawali now starts to take advantage of that catching, because now one tomahawk is either going to thrust or going to catch, and then that one tomahawk is going to ensure that the other tomahawk right behind it is going to take care of the rest of the target. So when I'm moving here, note the squaring up of the shoulders. Note that I'm able to distract and also able to multiply all of my striking, but then I can now start to add all of these other features of the tomahawk, like catching, tearing, pulling with one versus the other. So now that you see me squaring up here with my shoulders and you're seeing those arms crossing, these are relatively standard movements in Filipino martial arts. But now what you start to see here is a combination or some derivation of the 3 of 9 template from true right and true left. This is something I like to play with the full size and the compact, because it is a very good and complex movement that ensures that my motor control capability stays on point and stays very sharp. However, it is also a highly reliable strategy once I am in close quarters when I'm using Sinawali patterns using either knives, karambits, or in this case, the fantastic Sayoc Winkler Tomahawks. So see me moving here with relatively standard Filipino martial arts movements with my shoulders squared up, and you can see the sheer unpredictability of some of those angles with payong movements, and you can see how I'm leading now with different shoulder dynamics with the witik. But then eventually what you're going to start to see is that as I start to close that distance, then I start to play with some of that 3 of 9 Sayoc template movements. So one thing I like to do in my own personal practice is to combine both. So from the outside, I like to do traditional Filipino martial arts Sinawali, and then up close I start to play with true 3 of 9 on the right and true 3 of 9 on the left. Now I'll be using the full size in the primary with the compact and the karambit grip secondary. Mind you, when I use these Sinawali drills, I still use my situational awareness to still look around, even though I'm just drilling it. So note that when I am using the primary, I use it to hook, and as I pull myself in and bring up that karambit grip compact so that it can really use the type of shock and awe with that type of combination. Because that primary with the full size can do a lot of hooking, and it allows me to take that compact in that karambit grip and really do a lot of that damage. So this flow has that strategic application in mind. Even though I am told that double tomahawk is not part of the Sayoc curriculum, I really enjoyed working with 2 Sayoc Winkler Tomahawks to make this video. I hope you really enjoyed it, because I sure had a lot of fun making it. Stick around, stay tuned, more videos to come.